Going on, we're back. It's the Conor McGilligan channel, and I am back, everybody. Yes, it's been 2 or 3 weeks. How are you doing? Apologies for the lack of content. It's been a mad few weeks. What's going on in your world? Let me know in the comment section below. Today, everybody, we're doing a video about Sunderland. We're going to be releasing videos on all of the playoff teams, which will be confirmed after this Saturday. And we're going to be talking about their chances, the reason we might be backing them, not backing them. And we're going to start off with Sunderland. Shout out to all of you in the comment section below who are still on the channel. Thank you to all the new subscribers. If there are any, please make sure you slap a like on the video. It really helps. And let's get into it. So Sunderland at this moment in time are really worrying me. I've always backed Sunderland this season. It has to be said. I've always been like a big backer of what's going on. Regis Bris' success. There's an argument that he should have been really heavily in the conversation, more in the conversation for manager of the season, 100%. But it's been the end of season form. I absolutely love Sunderland's team. I think there's a lot of players in that side, when we have a look at it, that could really acclimatise to the Premier League, to sort of the lower half Premier League sides. I genuinely do. I think Hume is an exceptional fullback on his day. Dennis Sirkin, I think, will probably be playing, if some clubs will take a chance on him because of his injury record. I think he could be playing Premier League next season. It could be a target for many clubs, especially the promoted clubs, if Sunderland aren't to get there. Joe Bellingham, I think, is a very good talent, has had a much better season. A very good ball carrier, athletic, has that physical presence, which I think will take him to probably somewhere on the continent before the Premier League, following his brother's footsteps a little bit. But I think he will be in the Premier League a lot sooner than his brother. And then we kind of look at Isidore, who I think is a monster, an absolute monster. I think Bris, maybe there's criticism this season for not properly utilising Mienda as well. I think, against Sheffield United in particular this season, when I've seen Mienda and Isidore, I've loved that combination. But I understand that it's not been as successful at points when used. But there's a lot of talent in that Sunderland side, and that comes down to KLD, obviously the guy who's in charge of recruitment, and his recruitment model, of which is based on a model of which is utilised very similarly at Brighton and Brentford. So there's a lot of good things there at Sunderland, and worst case scenario, they don't get promoted. I think there is reasons to be hopeful again, because I think they can sell players on for big value. Tommy Watson's obviously going to Brighton for 18 million quid, I believe it is. But they've got a really good model there that if they can keep this up, it is going to turn at some point, like it did for Brentford. It will turn at some point with Sunderland, and that massive Titanic of a club will be toward the Premier League. But will it get done this season? I think it's been a real interesting last month for Sunderland, and we're going to get into exactly why. And Sunderland fans in the comment section, just general football fans, let me know what you think in the comment section below. They've completely flunked, in my opinion, when it comes to these results. I mean, Sunderland were doing so well, and we just go a little bit further up, and they're a bit of a nightmare to beat, to be honest with you, especially in and around the sort of period of which was, January. They got some good results in there. Pre-January, they were probably a little bit better, but I don't know. It's always been a little bit inconsistent, but Sunderland have put some really good runs together. But what they haven't done in particular is put any decent runs together. I mean, you just look at this here. As much as we do praise them, Sunderland have had inconsistencies. But this period here, look, win, good result at Burnley, which they should have won, win at Middlesbrough, but they have had these inconsistencies, of which happened to Sunderland at the previous part of the season as well, when, they played these two teams in particular, in Plymouth and Watford, in the reverse fixture, and dropped points there as well. And that's been the theme. Look here, Hull, 1-0 loss, but then they beat Luton, they beat Sheffield Wednesday, but then they get battered by Coventry. They beat West Brom in a brilliant victory, beat Millwall in a brilliant victory, draw at a lowerly poor Norwich. And this is the period that I want to talk about in particular, just in and around here. And the reason I wanted to speak about it in particular was because of the rotation that Regis Bris has been criticised for. And this is why I'm worried about Sunderland. I really am. Now, you just move into this period here, which is it was in and around here, just before the Coventry game. I think it was just in between here. They might have been after the Wednesday game. Really good win. Mienda, I believe, got 2 in this game. He got 2 in this game. And they confirmed their spot in the playoffs. But was it too soon? Was it too soon? We've seen it happen with West Bromwich Albion very recently, where you are confirmed in the playoffs, but then you struggle to gain momentum again. And a lot of people will look at Southampton and they'll say, well, Connor, that Southampton team also coasted into the playoffs, but Southampton had a run last season in the Championship where there were 25 games unbeaten. Not only that, but you look at that Southampton side, not at any stage did I think that Southampton were going to go into that playoffs, and they'd already beaten Leeds United twice in the season. They'd had a good hit rate against some of the playoff teams, and they still had star quality when it came down to it. Sunderland, for me, when we look at their squad, have a very good squad. I'm a massive fan of it, and we're just going to share it up here as well. But there's been a big issue for me in terms of the strength of this side. The form, no win in the last 5, which is absolutely mad. But when you look at this squad, Patterson in net, who has been okay this season. Hume, I really rate. Yelder obviously isn't normally there. It's Sirkin. 09, not a massive fan of. I know it complements 09 being in there, but I'd rather have all day of the week Ballard and Mepham. Dan Neal's had an exceptional season overall for Sunderland. He's been probably their best player. Bellingham's much improved this season. Riggin there has had his breakout season. Lefay, if you're a Sunderland fan, you probably wanted a little bit more from him, but I'm still not convinced he's proper off that left. I think centrally similar with Sheffield United and Gus Harmer. I know Harmer's just got player of the season, but I still think Harmer is a better Harmer just in that cam. I think the same would be said for Enzo Lefebvre, but he's had his injury record this season, which I think has killed Sunderland as well, but he's back now. Roberts, I don't think, has been great this season. Isidor's been exceptional overall when you think about it, but he's had a bit of a blip period, and Meander off the bench has been really decent in this latter part of the season, really. But you just look at the fixtures and they've just killed themselves. And you've got to be so careful when you've had this confirmation, which I think Sunderland fans, let me know in the comment section below, but it definitely was in around this period. So they lost the Hull, which knocked them out of the automatics. But just the fall from where they were, win, excellent. Obviously, Cardiff been relegated now, so that's into context. Drawing at home to Preston, then getting battered again at Coventry, which Sunderland don't have a good record against. And we'll just have a quick look at this. Coventry were the better team. You look at the XG, 21 shots. Sunderland with no big chances. If we just have a look at this lineup as well for this game, Sunderland still went strong. In this game. Tommy Watson's obviously back from injury now. You've got the likes of Alan Brown back from injury as well, which is massive. So they've got a lot of players back. Sirkin, etc. back, or will be back, it looks like, for the playoffs. But there is a lot of context here, a hell of a lot of context as to why this is going wrong. Now, if we just share the screen again and we just go back to Sunderland, I don't understand what's happened with Bris. And let me explain to you what I mean. So, Regis Bris has decided to rotate. But we just look at this Norwich game. Norwich with absolutely nothing to play for. Arguably the better team on the day. Created more XG, which has happened a lot for Sunderland in the last however many games. Okay, well, look at the lineup. Look at the rotation. Alexic in there, who's a very, very, supposed to be a very good young talent, but he's barely played this season. Watson coming back. Yelder, we know Sirkin's been injured, of course, but there's rotation here. Brown been back in, which is a big thing, of course, but there's rotation, And we just moved back to Sunderland here. And this is the interesting part. He's continued to rotate. And then you look at the Swansea game, which is a big loss for them. Once again, getting outmanned on XG again, which is big. The lineup for that game, let's have a look at it. Rotated again. It's different. Jones in there. Brown going to right back. So it's a completely different front four, really, for what Sunderland have had throughout the season. We go back again. That's what Sunderland, and again, this is frustrating you guys probably. But then we go back again. We go Bristol City, which they just got absolutely battered, didn't they? Look at this. They just got absolutely battered by Bristol City. And Bristol City are a good team, but they shouldn't be doing this to Sunderland. 2 XG, 77% possession, 4 big chances, Sunderland 0. Try Hume sent off in the 7th minute, which obviously changed things, but still. And you look at the rotation of the team again, it's different again. Lefebvre this time central. I don't know if he knows his best team, and I think this can be attributed to Sheffield United as well. I'm not sure he knows his best team. This is my worry with Regis Bris going into this. So then you look at Blackburn, who have picked up form at the right time. Much better performance from Sunderland. You would argue, obviously, that Blackburn, got away with that. But it's a different team. Again, Samed comes in. Why is Samed in here? Anderson at left back. Samed's a big one. Alexic. Brown at right back, obviously. It's just a very, very, very different team to what we used to with Sunderland. And I understand injuries are a big part of that. Of course I do. I understand they're a big part of that. But there's been too much change. And then the Oxford game, he brings all the likely lads back in. Oxford outman him, 17 shots to Sunderland's 10. 2 big chances. He brings them all back in. And because they've not had enough, obviously Serkin's still out. Looks like he's going to be back. But Yelder in there. Serkin coming on, which is a big boost for them, of course. But so let's say Serkin's there, but Yelder's there right now. Leface back out wide, rigging that cam roll, who's part of a 3, obviously, normally. But they bring all the big boys back in, and Oxford are the better team. You know, I watched the highlights. They were the better team. And it means now Bris has managed them to 4 wins. No wins. No wins in 5 games. And I just think that's mental. They've got to beat QPR, I think, Sunderland. It's a really big game for them. And if they don't beat QPR, they go into the playoffs. They're probably going to play, if we're thinking about it, Bristol City, who've beaten them recently. Yes, there was 10 men there. But right now, I'll be honest, everybody, I'm looking at Bristol City and I think they beat Sunderland. And I've always backed Sunderland this season. You guys will know. But I just think how it's going for them right now is a real worry. It's a real worry. They need to come back. QPR have got nothing to play for. They need to beat QPR and go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum. He needs to start his strongest side for me, Regis Bris, which I'm not sure he knows how to do. I would be sticking Lefay in that central spot, but I don't think he'll do that. I do like that trio midfield, of course, but there has been a downgrade in these Sunderland players. I think Regis Bris has massively mismanaged this. The motivation of the lads looks like it's got to a point now where it's so late that it's going to be difficult to retrieve back. It's going to be difficult to bring that back. So Sunderland would always, even if Sheffield United would have been in there in probably January, February, I'd have picked Sunderland. That sounds wild, but I think a shootout over 2 legs between them both, I think there's an argument that Sunderland win that. And I obviously know it's a lot closer, isn't it? They beat Sunderland. Sheffield United beat Sunderland. Sunderland beat Sheffield United. But I think actually, you know, when you look at the quality of the squads, there's not that much between them at all. And Sunderland are a good team on the day, a very, very good team on the day. You look at what they did to Burnley, where they should have won that game at Turf Moor, probably the best performing team at Turf Moor this season. Against Leeds United, they were exceptionally good for 75 minutes, very good in real reasonable control. And obviously they've beaten Sheffield United and lost to Sheffield United this season. They've lost to Leeds, but Burnley, they've played really well again. So there's a hit right there for Sunderland, but he needs to get this right very, very quickly. For me, it's a must-win for Sunderland this weekend. They need to get some more momentum going into that, especially with the full setback. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I'm saying there, everybody? Really interested to hear all of your thoughts. What do you think Sunderland going into the playoffs? Are they done? Or can they turn this around? Let me know. See you in a bit.